Look at the clock on your wall right now. If you manage to live an average human lifespan, you will spend 26 years of it entirely unconscious. For decades, science thought this was a biological mistake. We assumed we were shutting down to conserve physical energy, helplessly waiting for the sun to rise so we could live again. But recent neurological discoveries have shattered that illusion. Sleep is absolutely not a passive state of quiet rest. It is a violent, high-energy, and incredibly complex biological scrub. When you finally close your eyes and drift off tonight, your brain doesn't just quietly power down the main servers. It triggers a highly orchestrated physiological maintenance cycle. Missing this window doesn't just make you groggy tomorrow. It physically damages your fundamental genetic code, starves your immune system of critical cellular defenses, and rapidly accelerates the biological aging process. Today, we're going to look deep under the hood of human consciousness. We will explore the hidden architecture of your nightly slumber. We will debunk the biggest myths about catching up on lost rest and reveal what actually happens inside your skull in the dark. Prepare to completely change how you view your time in bed.
Imagine a bustling kitchen at the peak of a dinner rush. By the time the final exhausted customer leaves the building, the counters are covered in grease and dishes are piled high. Your brain operates just like this kitchen during waking hours. Every single thought you have and every movement you make generates a microscopic trail of dangerous metabolic waste. One of these toxic byproducts is a protein called amyloid beta. If this sticky plaque is left unchecked to accumulate over time, it literally suffocates your delicate neural pathways. So how exactly does the brain clean up this daily chemical mess? Enter the fascinating mechanics of the glymphatic system. This is a specialized waste clearance network found recently. And the catch is it only activates during deep non-REM sleep. When you finally cross the threshold into deep slumber, something incredibly bizarre happens inside your skull. The physical space between your brain cells actually expands. The cells shrink down, increasing the gaps by 60%. This expansion allows cerebrospinal fluid to rush into the void. It acts exactly like a high-pressure hose in that dirty kitchen. It aggressively washes away the toxic buildup from the day. If you decide to cut your sleep short to work late, that vital internal kitchen never gets properly cleaned. You wake up with yesterday's dangerous garbage still there. Recent medical data from 2025 confirms how dangerous this is. Studies show that fragmented sleep severely impairs this wash. This directly links poor sleep hygiene to Alzheimer's disease. Without deep sleep, your brain is drowning in its own waste. But cleaning out the trash is only phase one of the night shift.
For generations, we have all been told the ultimate golden rule. You must get exactly 8 hours of sleep every single night. But groundbreaking research from 2025 has flipped this script. A massive study analyzed the habits of over 80,000 people. The final results completely shocked the global medical community. It turns out that total sleep duration isn't the most vital metric. The true, undisputed king of human longevity is sleep regularity. Going to bed and waking up at the exact same time every day is a far stronger predictor of life than the total hours you log. People who live with highly chaotic sleep schedules face a threat. They show a 20 to 48% higher risk of mortality. This remains true even if they occasionally sleep for 8 hours. To understand why, think of your body as a massive symphony. Your master internal clock is the conductor waving the baton. When you go to bed at wildly different times each night, you're essentially blindfolding the conductor. Suddenly, the liver starts playing to a different rhythm than the heart. Your metabolism becomes confused and your hormones misfire. This creates a highly dangerous state known as social jet lag. You might think you can just sleep in on the weekends to catch up, but you cannot biologically pay back this deep metabolic debt. You can clear out the sleepiness, but you can't undo the cellular chaos. Your ancient internal clock demands strict, unwavering consistency. Some people actually have a biological excuse for this struggle. Scientists recently identified a mutation in the CRY1 gene. People who carry this mutation have a naturally longer circadian cycle. They're essentially living in a permanent state of biological jet lag. This proves that being a night owl isn't just a lack of discipline. It is a hardwired genetic difference that society misunderstands.
Most people severely underestimate the physical toll of a bad night. We treat sleep deprivation like a corporate badge of honor today. But let's look at what happens when you sleep 6 hours instead of 8. Just one single week of this mild restriction creates devastation. First and foremost, it directly attacks your genetic blueprint. Researchers found that insufficient sleep physically alters your genes. Specifically, it distorts the behavior of 711 genes. The genes responsible for driving chronic inflammation are dialed up. Meanwhile, the genes that manage your immune system are suppressed. You are essentially rusting your own genetic machinery from the inside. Then there is the catastrophic impact on your reproductive system. For healthy young men, the clinical results are particularly alarming. Restricting sleep to 5 hours a night destroys hormone production. It drops circulating testosterone levels by 10 to 15%. To put that terrifying statistic into a real-world perspective, that is the biological equivalent of aging 10 years in 7 days. Women face equally severe consequences to their own fertility. A chronic lack of sleep causes a massive drop in conception hormones. Your cardiovascular system also takes an immediate hit from deprivation. Adults over 45 who sleep fewer than 6 hours a night face a 200% increased risk of suffering a heart attack. Without the healing relaxation phase of non-REM sleep to calm you, your body remains trapped in a stressful fight-or-flight state. Your blood pressure stays high, and cortisol constantly floods your veins. You are slowly and methodically suffocating your heart by refusing to rest. To truly understand why we feel tired, we must look at a specific chemical. From the exact moment you wake up, a molecule called adenosine builds. Think of it like water slowly filling up behind a massive concrete dam. As the day progresses, the invisible water level rises higher and higher. This creates an intense, undeniable biological pressure to sleep. When you drink a cup of coffee, the caffeine doesn't drain the water. Instead, it simply unplugs the sensor that monitors the water level. Your brain is artificially tricked into thinking the dam is empty, but the adenosine continues to build up rapidly in the background. When the caffeine finally wears off hours later, the illusion shatters. You experience a sudden, crushing wave of exhaustion as the dam breaks. This is the infamous afternoon caffeine crash that we all know too well. Because caffeine has a biological half-life of 5 to 7 hours, a late afternoon coffee will severely disrupt your deep sleep cycles. Then we have the single most misunderstood sleep substance of all time. Millions of people use a heavy glass of alcohol to unwind at night. Because alcohol is a known sedative, it does make you lose consciousness. But chemical sedation is absolutely not the same thing as natural sleep. Alcohol is one of the most potent suppressors of REM sleep ever found. It completely shatters the highly orchestrated architecture of your cycle. As your liver desperately tries to metabolize the alcohol in the dark, it triggers a massive spike in your sympathetic nervous system. This forces you into a highly fragmented state of useless pseudo-sleep. You might be unconscious to the world, but your brain is not repairing. This chemical disruption doesn't just hurt you on a personal level. Sleep deprivation is quietly devastating the global economy.
Recent reports show the United States loses $400 billion every single year due to sleep-related productivity loss and mortality. It is a massive, hidden tax on every developed nation on the planet. Eventually, you rise from the deep, dreamless depths of cellular repair. You enter the most fascinating, vivid, and bizarre phase of the night. This is rapid eye movement sleep, beautifully known as the theater of dreams. During REM sleep, your brain activity explodes into an electrical frenzy. It looks almost identical to the brainwaves of a fully awake person. Your motor cortex and your deep emotional centers become hyperactive. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, the logical center, completely shuts down. This is exactly why your dreams are so intensely emotional and weird. To stop you from physically acting out these vivid hallucinations, your brain paralyzes almost every voluntary muscle in your entire body. But why do we willingly undergo this nightly descent into madness? Leading scientific theories suggest REM sleep acts as overnight therapy. It takes the painful, traumatic, or highly stressful memories from your day and gently strips away the visceral emotional charge attached to them. During this unique stage, stress chemicals like noradrenaline are absent. This allows your brain to process difficult experiences safely. Recent data also shows it meticulously calibrates our social skills. Without enough REM sleep, we completely lose our emotional decoding ability. We start interpreting perfectly neutral facial expressions as hostile. A bizarre study from 2025 even linked poor sleep to extreme psychology. Researchers found a strong correlation between sleep loss and paranoia. Without proper rest, your brain's pattern-matching abilities malfunction. You become much more susceptible to believing irrational narratives. Interestingly, not all animals experience the realm of sleep like humans. Take the incredible chin-strap penguin of the Antarctic, for example. They sleep for exactly 4 seconds at a time, 10,000 times a day. They accumulate 11 hours of rest through constant microsleeps. Dolphins can actually sleep with just 1/2 of their brain at a time. They keep one eye open to watch for predators while the other half rests. Humans, however, require long, deeply uninterrupted cycles to survive.
We are currently living through an invisible, destructive biological war. For millions of years, human biology was perfectly synced with the sun. When the sun went down, absolute darkness triggered melatonin release. This crucial hormone is the messenger that tells your brain to sleep. But in our hyper-connected modern world, we have banished the night. We are constantly bathing our sensitive retinas in bright illumination. The glowing screens on our phones and laptops don't emit normal light. They blast a specific jagged spike of blue light directly into our eyes. This unnatural wavelength hits your optic nerve like a biological needle. It aggressively tricks your master internal clock into thinking it is noon. Your confused brain immediately halts all of its natural melatonin. You can lay in bed feeling physically exhausted but mentally wired. This is because you have chemically suppressed your own sleep signal. But artificial light isn't the only environmental trigger we must manage. Your core body temperature must drop by 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit just to successfully initiate and maintain a stable state of deep sleep. This is exactly why it is always easier to fall asleep in a freezing room compared to a room that is even slightly too warm or stuffy. Your brain requires a literal thermal cool-down to safely power down. If you decide to take a hot shower an hour before getting into bed, the rapid cooling of your skin afterward massively accelerates this drop. You are essentially hacking your own biology to speed up the sequence. We have to actively recreate the cold, pitch-black caves of our ancestors if we want to achieve the deep, healing restoration our bodies crave.
So how do we actually fix this modern global crisis of exhaustion?
The first and most important step is defending your circadian rhythm. You must set a dedicated alarm for going to bed, not just for waking up. Anchor your schedule so your brain knows exactly when to expect sleep. Next, you need to transform your bedroom into a highly specialized sanctuary. Drop the thermostat down to roughly 65 degrees Fahrenheit. It might sound uncomfortably cold at first, but your brain will thank you. You should also deeply consider the physical, tactile elements of your room. Recent clinical trials from 2025 have revealed something truly fascinating. Heavy weighted blankets are no longer just an anecdotal internet trend. The deep pressure stimulation they provide triggers real physiological changes. It actively lowers the severity of clinical insomnia and boosts melatonin. If you find yourself staring at the ceiling for more than 20 minutes, you need to immediately break the vicious cycle of nighttime frustration. Get out of your bed and move to a completely different room with dim lighting. Read a physical paper book or do some light stretching until you feel tired. Your brain is an incredibly powerful, highly sensitive associative machine. If you lay there feeling anxious and awake, you train your brain to hate your bed. You must actively rebuild the mental link between your mattress and slumber. Finally, seek out aggressive, natural sunlight the exact moment you wake up. Natural morning light is over 100 times brighter than indoor lighting. It hits your visual receptors and sets a perfect biological timer for the evening. It guarantees that your melatonin will surge exactly when you need it later.
There is a devastating, terrifying genetic condition called fatal familial insomnia. It is an incredibly rare inherited disease that attacks the thalamus in the brain. Patients diagnosed with this condition progressively lose the ability to sleep. They become trapped in a terrifying, hallucinogenic state of constant wakefulness. Within mere months, their internal organs systematically shut down and they die. It is the ultimate, heartbreaking proof of a fundamental biological truth. Sleep is absolutely not a luxury, a lazy lifestyle choice, or a sign of weakness. It is a strictly non-negotiable life support system that dictates our daily survival. Every single time you prioritize a late-night scroll over your much-needed rest, you are making a microscopic, irreversible withdrawal from your total lifespan. But the incredibly good news is that you have the absolute power to change this tonight. By respecting your internal clock and meticulously optimizing your environment, you can unlock a level of daily cognitive performance you didn't know existed. You can literally wash your brain of toxins, heal your broken DNA, and extend your life. So let me ask you a very important question before you close this video. How many hours of sleep are you actually getting on an average night right now? Let me know down in the comments and tell me what changes you plan to make tonight.